Guys, listen, I wanted to welcome everybody to today's session. We're really looking forward to it. We have Matt Redbear, who's going to be leading today's session. Matt is somebody who has been both on the operating of JETvarnish as an operator, but also really a high-end designer as well. And I think it's going to be great to have kind of a conversation on best practices and things that he's been able to figure out in his years designing for. But before we get started, and before I hand it off to you, Matt, maybe we can have everybody very quickly introduce themselves. We have Nicole and Brandy who are new to the JETforce meetings. Maybe you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure, absolutely. My name is Nicole Jenkins. I am the Business Development Director at American Printing in Madison, Wisconsin. We got our Evo in 2020, January of 2020 at Print United. So great time to spend, $1 million right before. But I will say what that time allowed us to do was really dig into the MGI and learn how it's not something that goes at the end of your design. It's not an add-on. It's literally something that needs to be done at the very beginning. So we also did some remodeling in our shop. So our MGI is the first thing you see. So when we take folks through tours, you don't see it at the end. We're just physically and verbally telling people, you got to think about it first.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Nicole. That's great. How about you, Brandy? Welcome to the JETforce. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thank you. I'm Brandy Rose. I am the senior graphic designer at American Printing with Nicole, and I love playing with the MGI.
Brandy actually has some illustrations on her walls that she's done that actually have we call it glaze. So the spot varnish and spot foil on her Aretha, her John Lennon, and Tina Turner in the background.
That's very cool. Well, Brandy, maybe you could share that with us up closer next time, and make sure you submit those for like an FSCA Gold Leaf if you can. That'd be awesome for you guys to get an award for that kind of cool work.
You bet. Thanks.
All right, Gerardo, why don't you introduce yourself real quick? We know you. You're a good member of the community, but maybe introduce yourself to Nicole and Brandy. We don't know who you are.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm from Monterrey, Mexico. We have a JETvarnish 3DS, and we do mostly this kind of work. The holiday card. This is the last year's holiday card. We made a copycat crystal effect, but it worked great, and it was on uncoated paper.
Wow.
This is red Fedrigoni paper that we got.
Nice.
We were very this is
oh my gosh, gorgeous.
the effect on the card. I actually tried many things on this card this last year, but I like the last one better. But the paper on this one was the feature because the paper is with a golden stripes. It was very difficult to print. We had to do pre-print, sleek print, and this card had 11 passes on the card, so it was very fun. And Kevin, if you want some, I can send them to you, and you can give them. Marco, please give me your address so I can send a couple of ones to you, and maybe we can share some of the techniques we can use to make these things go on.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you for showing that. Marco, real quick, why don't you introduce yourself, Marco? You've been super helpful in everything related to service and getting around a lot of the obstacles. You've been very helpful. We appreciate your help, Marco. But give us a quick background on yourself.
From Croatia, I'm an operator in Konica Minolta, and I'm now for 6 years with JETvarnish technology, with basically all machines that are on JETvarnish technology. So the Evos, the 3DSs, the new Courier Shine, the roll-to-roll machines. So I've been on all printing and technically involved completely. So as Kevin said, I have, I can say, a lot of knowledge on a service and technical side to support you, to help you to find solutions, and don't be afraid to ask.
Very good. Thank you, Marco. Well, Matt, then we're gonna hand it off to you. It's your session. You're gonna take us through it. But Matt, give us a quick background on who you are, and let's kick this thing off, buddy.
Yeah, it's everyone's session. It's all of ours. I don't think we could have a collaboration without such a wonderful group of people. Marco, it's good to see you again. Gerardo, it's good to see you. And Kevin, it's been an hour since I talked to you. Nicole and Brandy, welcome to the group. And it's just, I normally haven't been hosting this. Ken's been doing it for quite a while because I've been buried in work, and he's actually better at the technical side of, you know, running the 3DS or Evo or whatever. So he has more of a, I don't know, inside technical viewpoint, whereas my viewpoint has always been creative. It's always been well, it can be technical to the point of creating the proper PDF stack, you know, workflow, using the software, networking, getting files to the machine, whether through the RIP or not through the RIP, and actually trying to develop some alternative ways to handle that data. So those things might be upcoming as well through one of our sister companies. But anyway, like I said, it's for me, it's all about the design. They hired me here at Blue Ocean Press, which is in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And it's cold here today, believe it or not. It's very cold.
You're talking to people from Wisconsin here.
I know, but when it gets down to 60 or 50 here, everyone's wearing coats because our blood's too thick. Yeah, I mean it's different. I don't know what else to tell you, but people are wrapped in puffy coats here when it hits 50. So, you know, I'm like all bundled up here. So that's where I'm sitting at right now. And behind me is the JETvarnish 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been sitting on this floor since just 3-4 months prior to the pandemic. So, Nicole, I feel your pain because as we put this in, everything was just rolling. We were getting so much activity and so much interest, and then boom, the whole world stopped. And what has been a very interesting thing is we're doing it all again. We lost the momentum, you know, because everybody closed, and all of our clientele are corporate, big companies. DHL, Ryder, Vitas, big corporate entities. So when they shut all their offices, you know, all of our input just completely dried up. So we're back on that ramp, getting it going again, and it's been a pretty successful year so far. We've been very happy with the volume that we've had. I don't know about the rest of you, but the biggest challenge we're still having is paper and just supplies in general. We run a signage department, a large format department here as well. And just being able to get the supplies that we need to print on for large format or for this machine, or we do the printing and then try to embellish it here. A lot of paper substitutions, a lot of supply substitutions, and a lot of paper is, tell me if you're not having a similar situation, mill order. Everything is mill order. And it's like, oh, this paper's available, but you have to buy X amount of it. And that
I would say, Matt, to another thing that we're encountering, and I'm sure it's due to the supply chain, and and folks closer to the paper mill is the surface coating is just not as reliable as it had been historically. It's like the MGI will stick to the paper, but the paper won't stick to the paper. The surface coating actually just comes right off.
We've been having similar issues with stock brands that we have considered to be tried and true that suddenly just become unusable.
Yeah.
And what I've seen is that where they used to do a really good coating on it, now they're using a cheaper clay type coating.
Yeah.
And it's not giving you that same surface that you're accustomed to having. So you have to be very, very careful how you handle that paper. And by all means, stay away from Chinese paper if you can.
Gerard, you too, you're seeing the same problems in Mexico?
Well, the last order I made from paper, we actually brought $25,000 of Cordonance paper from the US because there was no paper available here. But we're having problems with some providers using Chinese paper imports, and they are clones from Cordonance stock and Fedrigoni stock. So I went directly to the source. We've been talking with Fedrigoni directly, and we'll be getting some pretty competitive prices. But yes, we have to order $10,000, $5,000 of paper just to get the paper. Yeah, it's been tough.
Yeah, and one of the things is like you want to get a sample of the stock to do a live test, actually print on it, run it through the MGI, make sure it's okay. But then maybe that was last year's stock. Then they ship you this year's stock and now it doesn't work. So you have to be very careful. Is it this stock? Is it the new stock that you're pulling your samples from?
So
you
Matt,
have to be very clear with your supplier.
Tell me how, from a creative standpoint, and I think everybody's here is kind of wanting to know, how does that play into how you pitch your clients or how you design for the files, if anything?
Oh, I have simplified everything. I have gone from trying to be extra fancy to just super basic, because that way your results are more predictable. You're dealing with less variables. So I always try to talk the customers out of doing grayscales or multiple shades of varnish coverage, that type of thing. I try to talk them out of tight registration or registration considerations. And I also just simplify. If they wanted to use, and it's downselling, it's actually a form of downselling, because everyone's just so used to me like, oh, let's try this, let's do that, let's run a test, let's try an alternate file, let's present this to the customer and see if it's what they like, because they'll give me a file and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. And so I'll always make an alternate file and present it to them, which they'll usually go with, like, oh, this is so much better. I had no idea you can do this. Well, I've actually been doing less and less of that.
So the paper limitations is forcing you to scale down your creativity so that it doesn't.
Yes.
Interesting. Do you guys do that too? Nicole, Brandy, Gerardo, or even Marco? I don't know if your clients see it too. Are you guys seeing that, or you guys just cowboy up the whole time?
I usually use I only experiment on my projects, not with the client's projects, because when you experiment too much, you risk running into multiple variable problems. But I get jobs through experimentation with my jobs, with the company's jobs. With the clients, I don't experiment. I use trusted, certified stock, unless the client asks for it. But the downsizing or down playing is very important. And some customers don't understand that. We live in the Canva era of designing, so they don't understand what they're doing and the consequences of the design. So I encountered. I'm 40. I encountered 20-something designers who Canva only, because they are UX based designers and they don't have any experience in print. So trying to teach them or correct the design, they're not approachable to that. So we have to change the strategies. We can do this, but with your design, that's impossible. And they usually understand. Some of them don't, and usually want floods of code or floods of ink, and we left those customers alone. We don't serve those, but it's very difficult. It's quite difficult.
So education is key from a design standpoint. Are you charging them to redo their files? Is that like a profit center for you guys, or is that something you just do as a service to thank you for sending?
I do it. I mean, reason number one is to educate the customer. Hey, instead of just putting a blob of varnish on here, you could be doing this, which is much more interesting. Would actually use fewer supplies, meaning less varnish, and it would actually end up just a better, more durable product. So that's the number one reason. And also it's just to, I don't know, kill time and satisfy my creative urges, I guess, because that's what creative designers do.
Yeah. How about you, Nicole? What do you guys think?
Well, I would defer to Brandy on this, if you're comfortable, Brandy, because you do such beautiful design in this space. But Matt, I couldn't agree with you more that less is more. Like just a giant flood of varnish. Yeah. It lends to an unhappy customer or an unhappy result. It's just things inherent with the system that less is more.
We agree. I think Matt has a tattoo that says that whenever he talks to somebody.
Probably, but you know what? There's a couple of exceptions that I've had this year, and I'm going to be putting out a video soon about like the last 11 projects we did in 2023. But this is one of them, and you can see on these little characters. Yeah. And then, of course, it's on holidays. But it was really effective. This really worked on this piece. And this is not something that I would do. Normally, when I see this mask come across to the MGI, I'm like, oh, God, they've done it again. Just a blob of varnish. But then I thought, well, what if we just put a shit ton of varnish on there?
Did you do that in a single pass?
Yes.
What did you run that at?
That would probably be 73 microns.
It is, okay.
Yeah.
That's a shit ton of glaze. That's a shit ton of varnish.
It is, because if you look at it from the edge, you can actually see.
Mm-hmm. Matt, I thought it was embossed. I thought it was embossed on this angle.
And that's also having to do with the stock as well, because it's a satin finish stock. Mm-hmm. And it was run on the Xerox Iridesce, which has a very soft type of finish. So that was one piece that I was kind of like, once I got it off the machine, I'm like, wow, that really worked. That was pretty amazing. But I've got other customers that are doing equally interesting designs, and this is one of them.
That looks like a Brandy Rose right there.
Yeah.
Brandy, we want to hear.
That's just what.
We keep cutting you off. What are you working on? I mean, I'm sure that you have lots of stuff to exchange with us about.
Well, I was just going to say less is often more, but yes, Matt, there are always exceptions, right? There's times when more is more. I think what we've been working on with our clients is trying to think of using, again, we call it glaze over here, glaze and foil. Try to think of it in the beginning of the design process versus a finishing at the end. Because a lot of times we'll get files in and they're like, add technique, add glaze and foil now. And you're like, oh, well, now it feels forced.
Yeah.
So
a complete afterthought.
Yeah. We're like, think about it right away. Like use it right. Education is huge.
Yeah. That's 90% of my work is that They take in the work. It's been done on a corporate level. It's gone through their marketing department. It's gone through their design department. They give me a PDF and they're like, now make it fancy.
Yeah.
And so I have to come up with something.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to fit what they've already done. It has to work. So that's when I get in the push and pull with the salesperson, and I'm like, well, they want to do this, but this would look better. So then we have to start that dialogue of this back and forth of, hey, you think that's going to look good, but it's not. And most of the time, it's just because they want to put varnish on white. Everything that's white, they want to put the varnish on whatever is white. And I'm like, stop it. Every time they come to me with these files and they say, oh, put it on all this, the main title and on, everything that's white. I'm like, stop it with the white. Stop it. So
fails every time.
They'll never learn.
Nicole and Gerardo, I'm kind of curious. Oh, we got Marco showing us something.
It's on white.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah. and also just the varnish on the back.
on the white.
Oh no, that's interesting.
Oh,
Yeah, this is the patterns directly from the MGI. The
Yeah,
pattern of the winter, and I put inside in the middle of the flakes and everything a little like a grain to simulate, let's say, the snow or something.
and you don't get yellowing over time on that, Marco?
It's a little yellowish, but then you can see it with the naked eye without the thicker elements. You can see it without the reflection. You can see it like a little yellowish design, and then under angle you can see it with the reflection of the glowing and everything.
So Marco, I just saw a client do that. I was just at his spot last week, and he had run a clear holographic foil that stuck to the wood, and it gave like a pearlescent shine, and that looked really, really, really nice. So I don't know if you guys are playing with the clear holographics or the clear pearlescent foils, but it really hid the yellow and gave it a really good. Is that what you have right there? Is that clear or is that holographic?
That's clear. That's actually laid on a dark blue.
Oh, that looks awesome.
Wow.
So that it turns that snowflake blue.
That's cool.
But the foil was clear, and it was just a holographic pearlescent.
Did you try that on the white?
No, they only wanted it on the blue.
No. But for your own testing, like what I saw last week was really impressive.
No, but it would just be the same thing, just milky in the background. It wouldn't. It's not like super clear. It's kind of a milky white.
Yeah. Who did you use? Can you share the foil with everybody?
Yeah.
Who did I use?
Workers across the board.
There's a lot of really cool, funky stuff with. I know ATW has a lot of really cool stuff. K Laser has some cool stuff. Liberty Foil, like if you want to get into purples and stuff like that, they have some pretty cool colors.
Okay.
So this is surprising. It may just be a holiday item, but this is from Infinity Foil.
Infinity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like saran
It
wrap.
only comes
Exactly.
It only comes in this size roll.
Wow.
Really?
Is that 3
This
inch?
is the only size roll you can get it in.
And it's quite expensive. Actually, Infinity told me that they just found out that that kind of rolls work very well on the MGI. They didn't know, but they have to use 140 centigrade temperature
For the foil?
Yeah.
I do not. I do not.
Okay.
What do you use it at? What temperature are you blasting that at?
What I use everything else, usually around 115 roughly.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. I have
but
I have one of
That's
those.
coming right on.
ice.
That's the iridescent, though.
Try, yeah. I have to try one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks great.
Yeah.
The effect looks great.
Yeah, it worked out really well. I was surprised. That's the only job we used that on. Everything else this year had that silver glitter.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a
Nice.
silver glitter foil from Infinity as well.
This is K-Laser.
The K-Laser one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nicole, if you want, I mean, you could always connect with everybody here on the call if you ever want to exchange, what foils are you using, and what references are good, and you can always reach out to Gerardo and Matt and a bunch of the other people on this on our community. That's what we're here for, right? Is to share that.
Yeah, that's
kind of.
fantastic.
So if you walk away with a couple of new ideas and Brandy gets a project that would be perfect for this, just reach out to everybody. We're all one big family here.
Yeah, like Adam in where is he? Oklahoma. He posted something about this foil he was using, and I'm like, oh my god, I love it. I have to use it for something.
Oh, we have.
Yeah, we've used pink.
Yeah, this K-Laser. Yeah. It's
gorgeous.
pink or purple depending on the angle that you look at it. And they also have the cracked glass.
Brandy, do you have your Imagine? Yep.
Yeah,
show us your stuff, Brandy. We want to see your stuff.
I think we got some pink on here. Do you want to do the Imagine one?
Well, why don't we start with the swatch book? So this is our swatch book that we developed just to show. So as Brandy and I had said, we branded our varnish as glaze, and then we've done a campaign around the idea of imagine, play, experience. So this is a swatch book that we hand out to our clients. So Brandy, I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, this is a plastic stock, right?
Yep, synthetic.
Yep. And then some of these swatches were like the very first things I did do. So some of them are more simple, and then we've added to it. Just have a little description about our glaze. So every page we just show the foil in a different way. And this is a swatch book that we hand out.
They're our house foils.
Our house foil. Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
There's glaze too in most of these. This is the black foil, which I find we don't use a lot of black foil because oftentimes glaze on black just looks like black.
Yeah.
The black on black, matte black works great.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we use that a lot for a high-end company here as well.
We got some
nice
red here. I don't know if you want to see all of these, but
walk through it. That's beautiful.
Blue.
Yeah.
I like your design style, Brandy. It's very soothing.
So that one, Brandy, can you bring that one closer? That, Marco, reminds me kind of the background that you were using, that blind idea on your last piece, that postcard. That's where I get really excited about the tactile.
Yeah.
That people really spend time trying to figure out how did they do that.
The tactile part is awesome with patterns. This was a photography, so it may be harder to see, but there's little bits of gold in there.
And I think that's really one of the markets that are really underserved is art. And I think if you have any relationship with any museum or any artist who a lot of that stuff for whether it's the gift shop or limited edition signed runs. I think there's a lot of business in the art world for sure.
That I love that you said that, because I often say think of it as a mixed media piece of art, and using this as your medium, and you're mixing it with the stock and the ink. Yeah. So that's why you think about it in the beginning.
Yeah. So Brandy, funny enough, I worked with an artist a couple years back, and he used to do this big giant installation pieces that were like 20 feet tall and really, really big. And so he would sell it, and he would sell it for a lot of money, but he would never get another dime off of that piece. So what we started doing is high resolution photos of his pieces that he was selling, and then he would do 1 out of 100, and it would be 100, 200, 3 out of 100 in foil, and then he would sign each piece, and then he would put up in his gallery and sell them for like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. And so that was really something where he was able to emulate the brush strokes in just the right way, so that it looked like actual brush strokes. But the fact that it was limited edition is really what gave it the value. But yeah.
That now I have to find the calendar and show you. Give me a second.
And so Nicole,
so we have a ton of fun. You can imagine Brandy and our graphic design team, and our operators, our MGI operators. Have you guys met Jason Clevin? Has he been in one of the? Okay, so he's our I guess our director of digital, and our MGI falls under our digital department, of course. So he's the reason that we're here today. He's actually down in Florida, Matt, actually attending an event down there today. Anyways, Brandy, what you got there?
So these were actually paintings, and then we added in. This is probably a harder one to see, but. So you could feel like the texture of the paint, and then the foil's just kind of placed in there more subtly.
That's awesome. Yeah. They pay people to do that, to go over art. They'll print art, and they'll pay people per square inch to go over it with an actual paintbrush to do what you just did. Like, that's a thing, right?
Wow.
Like, people do, yeah. So you can really make that much more streamlined for the artists.
Yeah, that's an interesting audience to think about.
Yeah.
I would say I'm thinking of our verticals and, healthcare, financial, education, manufacturing. We have found each one of those, even nonprofit. We found each of the verticals in some way, shape, or form. This has been an easily adopted product for them. The one thing that we haven't done and haven't sold well is the idea of variable MGI. Gosh. But I just have to say, our biggest goal for 2024 from the sales and development side is we just need more people in the door, because it doesn't matter if you are the most eloquent speaker. People do not understand the MGI until they see it running. So for us, I think the way to get that variable is just to find the right client and then get them in front of the machine.
Yeah, it's hard to show somebody a picture or a video unless they have a sample in their hands and they're touching and they're feeling and they're haptically exploring your piece. Right. It's a whole different situation for sure. Very cool. Well, very cool. Well, listen, is there anything else that you guys want to chat about? Gerardo, you've been quiet, even though you're one of the most creative people I know. Is there any piece of advice that you'd give any of us from a design standpoint?
Well, like Matt said, we have to take a leap of faith on many substrates and foils, and have the time to experiment, because it's the most important thing on these machines. And once you master experimentation, you can go out and talk to your clients. Actually, the best product or best-selling product on the 3DS was holographic serialization and personalization. We made about 10,000 pieces per month. Wow. on those with those characteristics, and it's another price point, of course, but it was a very profitable price point. The machine paid itself with that project. So it became a very niche, very special kind of thing. And with the right materials and the right foils, you can do very beautiful things.
So I have a question about materials. We do struggle with uncoated stock in our MGI. So Gerardo, you said the word Fedrigoni earlier, and we had done some work with the Tintoretto line. but then that was discontinued. So what are you Fedrigoni? What are you printing on? What are you? What brand or line is that?
There are many brands. The card I just showed you was made with Dortali. The best for the MGI, the best we can in the beginning were for Cordons, which is also Fedrigoni.
Which one was that? Say that again.
Like Cordons.
Cordonons.
Can you put that in the chat for everybody? Just
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yes. But I just need to tell you something on a technical point of view. Matt and Gerardo have the different varnish than you have it on Evo. The thicker varnish. The Evo varnish is a little bit thinner and more problematic on uncoated materials. Because what I could achieve on a 3DS with 2 passes, first pass for the close the paper, they both know that, and in the second pass then you realize design. I couldn't achieve it on Evo even with the 4 passes because of the thinner varnish. So you have one thing that we do in Bratislava. They have the coater, Harris Bruno coater, with coating over the whole surface. They block the paper over the whole surface, and then you can put the varnish on top.
So we're actually testing that right now with Stipple. So that's the Nina, right?
Yeah.
To see if that won't work for us.
Nina has one paper, Touche. It's very good for this. Very expensive too. This is from Cordonons. This is our last year's card. It has a sleeking print and then foil. And this is the front, and this is the.
We've, instead of going to a touche or a plake, we've just done a soft touch laminate. It's gorgeous, and then we don't have any issues folding.
Usually on the bigger machines, as Marco referenced, people tend to laminate the materials because of the varnish.
You have from Fedrigoni, you have digital series, digital format papers, Soho Touch series. Soho Touch, and he is very good. It seems like uncoated paper. It feels like uncoated paper, but it's not. It's filled paper, and you can even do varnishing or foiling with 1 pass without the problem.
Marco,
what is it?
Tintoretto. That's the Tintoretto that we're talking about. Here it's branded as soft as Tintoretto Touch.
Okay.
It's the same paper, which is hard to get now. But I did have conversation with a couple of people that Nina was preparing to launch a whole line of papers that are feel and look uncoated, but are compatible with digital embellishment inkjet. So keep an eye out. Maybe reach out to people at Nina. Maybe we'll have on the next call if they want to come in and explain what they've developed for us.
I also heard a rumor that Fedrigoni is buying Mohawk soon.
No kidding.
So,
what?
Big one. So, that's a big drop.
Ooh, the tea. When is this happening?
So that's gonna change everything in the paper industry in the US soon. So you may be having some more options from Fedrigoni.
Wow. That's a huge deal. That would be phenomenal.
What a scoop. What a scoop, Gerard. Look at you bringing the scoop to the table.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone.
That's awesome. Very cool.
That's what they told me. So they're in the early stages of acquisition, and it's a very good match. I have to think that when specialization and specialty papers and luxury papers must merge, and Ferrihani has one of the best from the Splendor Lux, the Splendor Gel papers. They're very good. Cordinons is another company of theirs. So they're very special, very good papers, and we're very happy with the match we've made with them here in Mexico, and we'll have to see what's next.
Cool. Very cool. Well, listen, Nicole and Brandy, I put in the chat a couple of videos that Matt had done on running uncoded, but as Marco did point out, you might not necessarily get the same results because the viscosity difference between the varnish on the 3DS and the Evo. So who knows? It might be something that might be helpful.
One last thing. We had a problem with our 3DS on December. Leakage, the print head leakage. Do you have any tips for controlling the emergency leakage on the heads?
Was the leakage from where your backlines? What caused the leak?
I think it was the pipes. We have to change the pipes. We haven't had maintenance also because of the pandemic. But heads 1 and 5 are printing, but they are leaking. So what to do in those cases?
By leaking, you are leaking through the head, or you are leaking on the connectors of the pipes?
No, on the head. And they told me that I need to replace the heads, and they cost like $6,000 per head.
They're more than that.
No.
More than that.
Okay.
Got a good price.
Yeah, good price.
Yeah. Well, you've got the cost of the head, and then you've got the cost of installing and then aligning it. So it's a long process. But I have a back pressure issue that I have to set on, which you set on the pilot, of course, here. So it's the negative pressure that keeps the varnish in the head. I've had to increase that, and to a degree that's not normal for machines like this. So I can't remember what the values actually are, and I don't know that I can actually
the normal is 36, right, Marco?
Yeah, and I think I've gone,
each machine is different.
Okay.
Yeah, each machine is different, and I've gone like 3 points past that. And then, as you can see in here, I always keep paper on the belt.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and they told me that the belt is even more expensive to replace.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's very difficult to clean once you have a spill, which happened to me once. One of the caps came off on the stand tubes on the print head, and I could hear it. It got caught in the mechanism as the head carriage was moving, and it went ping, clank, clank, clank. And then we all looked like, what was that? And there was a flood of varnish spreading across.
It was the process of it.
I've seen
that. That's not bad.
That's okay.
Imagine a lake that's dripping through. Imagine just taking the jug of varnish and pouring it on the belt. That's what I was feeling.
They told me that in power failures, sometimes the operator was not paying attention. The power went down. The head was in the middle printing, and the whole varnish, the whole tank emptied on the.
If you ever have the same situation, always like Matt, put the paper below. You on Evo, you always need to put the paper below because your carriage doesn't move to the cupping station. The small machines move the carriage with the head on the cupping station. So basically, if you are on failure of the electricity and your UPS is not working, immediately put the paper below the heads, because if the vacuum goes out, then the leakage through the heads of the varnish will go, and you don't want to change the belt on a small machine. And you don't want to change the belt on a big machine.
Okay.
You see, guys, Nicole and Brandy here on. Send your operators on the operator meetups too.
Brandy actually just texted me that. I'm like, why is my phone buzzing? Oh, Brandy's texting me.
Yeah.
Jason and Aaron need to attend these. So
Yeah.
how often do you have these?
Well, we do typically we do the operator meetups twice a month.
Okay.
And I was thinking maybe we do one operator and then maybe one creative, like one designer, and then
Yes.
and then we usually like to do one sales one a month. So all the people who are out there selling or doing business development have a conversation and share, you know, what's selling in India, what's selling in South America, what's selling here, what are they doing, and just have a conversation on that. So,
That sounds great.
yeah, so we just, you know, we'd like to share information. I think everybody's trying to reinvent the wheel. And I think if we talk to other people who've also reinvented the wheel, things can go much faster for everybody. So,
yeah, this is beautiful to have a community like this. I appreciate that Brandy and I kind of plugged into a space that's very welcoming, but maybe not the best fit for us. But it's great, Kevin, to hear that there are different places that we could stay engaged because like when I first got here, I thought, oh God, I'm the only person. But I love the intimacy of really getting to know people and forming some relationships. So it would be great to keep coming back.
yeah, well, listen, if you guys are interested, and we can reach out to more designers in the space. Maybe we do a design meetup once a month where people like Brandy and Nicole and Gerard, Matt, you can
do more of a show and tell on everything, and you know, talk about techniques and design and layout and die lines and building the proper PDF and all those technical things that have to. I mean, designing is creative, but you have to use your left brain too.
Sure.
There's a lot of knowledge you have to know to operate the software and how to build a proper file.
So we'll do that. We'll do a designer meetup, Matt, and you'll host it, and then we'll get everybody to come on and talk more on the creative side and less on the operations side, and we'll keep that apart.
Yeah, and Kevin, it sounds like you already have something in play for the sales side as well. Yes.
Yep. So we're going to be announcing our dates for February here soon.
Fantastic.
Because every week have something for somebody, and remember, you have forums and you have group website. So, Brandy, if you want to join like the designer group and ask questions or post a question on the forum, everybody's going to jump in. And we didn't have that many people show up, but usually we had like 8, 10, 12 people show up on the last ones. You know, we're building this community from one little one person by one person, and it's a great space. I love this space. This is an awesome place to be.
Yeah, thank you. That sounds super awesome.
All right, guys. Well, listen, thanks for everything. I'll make sure to post this inside our the designer group, and if you ever want to come back to it, you have access to it as well. Okay.
Beautiful.
Perfect. Thank
All
you.
right. Gerardo, Marco, it was very nice to meet you as well. Thank you.
Nice to meet you as well too.
Bye, Matt. Bye, Kevin.
Bye everybody. Good to see you again.
Guys.